Hi everyone, my name's Laura and I'm the Specky Seamstres, and this is Friday Sews. I think I'm going to do Friday Sews now. We're going to give it a go, see how we go. As you know, I've recently got back into YouTube after a bit of a break, and I have some videos to film that are kind of more in depth, more involved make videos, which is kind of what I used to do a lot when I was YouTubing regularly. But they're quite overwhelming to film when you have a newborn and a toddler and very limited kind of slots of time to film. And I've been missing the kind of like chatty updates that I can do when I don't have to think, oh, but I need to share all of the details about this and all of the kind of, like, I need to remember all of the things. So I was sort of thinking that Friday Sews might be quite a nice way for me to just share what I'm doing while I'm on maternity leave, because there should be some sewing related activity every week, even if it's fairly limited. So these will mostly be filmed either holding a baby or keeping a baby near me, which is what we're currently doing. But yeah, I just thought it might be quite a nice way to be a bit chatty and yeah, catch up with people about what I'm doing, rather than feeling the kind of pressure of the big make videos, because they're fun to film and they're like, I love them, but they're just going to be harder to do on a regular basis. Like, I'm already 3 makes behind on those, so we'll just have a catch up instead. So I thought I'd kind of do a bit of a like, what am I doing, what am I sewing, what am I wearing, what am I buying type vibe, although it will be very informal, to be honest. And so this week, because I am back in the sewing room, which I wasn't in my last video, I thought I'd share a bit about what I've been doing. So I mentioned that my husband has been painting the sewing room. You can see that the ceiling is not yet painted, but like, we have some progress. So we have grey walls and then one big yellow wall where my sewing desk is, and I have been sorting out in the sewing room. That's been my main sewing activity this week, to be honest, has just been sorting stuff out, because honestly the sewing room has been a mess. It's always a mess, but it's been like a new level of mess. And I've spent a bit of time just trying to work out where I want things to be and how I want things to be organised. And my husband's been helping me out with that. We have completely changed the way that it is set up, and it looks so much bigger and so much more pleasant, and I'm really looking forward to getting the kind of the rest of it done, because it's still a mess. I mean, if I just move that will need sorting, but it's fine, it'll get done. But I've got things kind of where they want to be now, so I can start to kind of actually sort and organise properly. And I've managed to move things around so that the second desk I had in here is now much more accessible for someone to actually come and join me for a sewing day, which is great, because like, I have this great space for sewing, but I always ended up going to other people's houses for like social sewing, because there wasn't really room, even though there absolutely should have been room for sewing. So I'm quite looking forward to that. And that's what I've been doing. I've been moving IKEA units around and sorting out table legs and going through piles of stuff. I've got 3 bin bags full of things to throw away just sitting outside the door. And yeah, it's feeling good. Like, I feel like I'm actually making some tangible progress on it. And I'm not really filming the process of this, but I'm taking photos every time I kind of do a chunk, and I'm hoping to film a video at the end which kind of shows the sewing room once it's complete. But I will kind of show snippets of what I've been up to during these Friday Sews videos, because it feels nice actually to just track that there is some progress. And to be honest, I've always seen the sewing room as like this major task that needed loads of time to sort. But actually, it's been really refreshing to just be like, I have 20 minutes after putting the toddler to bed. I'm just going to go into the sewing room and take a bin bag and clear out some rubbish. Or I'm just going to go and look at one Droner, like one Kallax unit box of stuff, and see what I still want or see what kind of comes up. And that's been really refreshing. So that's what I've been doing mostly this week, other than like caring for a newborn and running a business. I then said I'd do like, what am I buying? So despite me saying I'd already had quite an ill-advised fabric haul like last week or about 2 weeks ago, I've still been buying fabric. I can't seem to stop myself at the minute. There are so many beautiful fabrics out there and I actually have a whole bunch of fabrics at a friend's house from Rainbow Fabrics, who did a big 40% off sale. And yeah, I've spent too much money on fabric recently and I need to kind of sew. And partly being back on YouTube is good for that, because it gets me back into thinking about sewing properly again, which is nice. But I have bought 3 things this week, and 2 of them were probably fairly ill-advised and 1 of them is less ill-advised. So I went to Lady So-and-So, which is a fabric shop in Henley, with a couple of friends, and I picked up this calf facet cotton. Now, this was probably ill-advised, but I've never had a calf facet fabric before. The colour is not showing up very well. It's this beautiful bright, 2 different types of purple on a black background. And I just thought it would make a really nice, very simple skirt, like the skirt that I made in my alterations video, which is based on the Made by Ray Trillium skirt. And I just think it would be really nice. It will go with lots of things. It will be nice and bright and bold, but still kind of, I don't know, it feels like that kind of grown-up arty vibe that I was talking about in my previous video. So I bought that. I have washed this and it has come up beautifully soft, like really, really soft. You could definitely make dresses out of this, even though it's a quilting cotton, like it's gorgeous. So I bought that, and that got me thinking about skirts, and to be honest, sent me off on a bit of a skirt train, which I might talk about a little bit, because I'm also going to talk about patterns that I've bought. So I picked up this, which is a radish fabric, which is not the grown-up vibe that I've been talking about, but it is kind of quite a cool print. This is from Kaylee over at the Flower and Bears fabric shop, which I'm not going to pronounce because my French is terrible. It's in this beautiful kind of quite grass green with like a sage kind of print. And I've been eyeing this up for a while. It was down in the sale at £10 a metre, and I thought, yeah, that will do a nice simple skirt as well. Because even though I said in my like return video that I've gone off skirts and that skirts were not my thing and that I needed to stop, I'm loving skirts at the minute. I think I just needed to find the right style. And to be honest, I think the key to unlocking skirts to me was length. I've always been a knee length or just above knee length girl. And I think I was struggling with the skirts that I had, because actually I wanted longer skirts, like I've now wanted longer dresses. So now I'm making slightly longer skirts. I'm actually really loving them. So yeah, I'm very excited to just make some really simple skirts. But having made my Rosalie skirts, which were like simple with a flare, I've been eyeing up some other patterns that might fill that sort of, not gap, because it's not a gap, but like be in that kind of frame of reference, be in that space of kind of like fairly simple but with a little bit of a twist. And I purchased the Robertswood Infinity ruffle skirt, which is not simple with a little twist. It's a bit OTT to be honest, but I saw a version from Jenna, who is the lady who lunches, or the lady that lunches on Instagram, in a gingham, and it was just beautiful. Like a lot of the other, like all of the other samples and things are very froofy. They're all made in like organza and they look like princess dresses, which is not really my style in dungarees as we speak. But I bought that, and I've been looking up some other skirts that I might fancy, and it's reminded me that I've got the Black Snail Patterns fan skirt, which is based on a like 1930s walking skirt. And again, a lot of the versions are very historical costuming, but I've seen a version on Instagram that with like someone's wearing it with Converse and like a jumper, and it looks amazing, and I really want to make one of those, but it takes up loads of fabric. So I need to decide what. But I think I might be entering a skirt era, which is a vast change from like 4 weeks ago when I said skirts, that's not happening anymore. So they're the two fabrics I bought for skirts. And then this fabric I picked up because this is not going to be a make for me, I don't think. This is a jersey from Little Legs Fabric, and We are going to a family funeral in a couple of weeks' time, and this is my husband's granddad, and he loved pheasants, and there was a bit of a like pheasant family in joke almost going on, and I thought it would be really nice to make the boys something to wear to the funeral. I don't really want to dress them in black, and it's not kind of a strict black only funeral anyway, but their normal outfits are like quite jungle themed, and I thought that might not be too appropriate either. So I thought I'd buy this pheasant fabric, and I'm gonna make a little t-shirt for James, and I'm gonna make a little like romper for Oliver, and I think that'll be nice. I've got 1.5 meters of this because I might make my husband something as well to wear. Maybe some boxers or something. They won't be on show, but he'll know that they're there. So I bought that as well. So that's what I've been buying. Have I bought some other patterns this week? I feel like I have, because I've just been a bit wild with spending recently. I think I've like got the sewing bug again. But what I've been sewing this week is another fabric that is new, that since the irresponsible fabric haul video. This is it's a cotton sateen from Rainbow Fabrics, and it's very satiny. I bought this to make myself a jumpsuit for the funeral. I decided that I wanted to make the Style Arc bell, so I talked very briefly that I had made the Style Arc bell in my previous video and that I wanted to make a jumpsuit, and I've done that now. There is going to be a very big video on that because it's been quite a process, and I'd quite like to I'd quite like to make another version, like a non-black version with some edits. Now I've learnt a bit more about the pattern mashing before I film that video, but there will be conversations about that. But yes, when this fabric arrived, it was very shiny, which I thought was a bit too much for me. So I'm actually using the wrong side of the fabric, which is like a really nice matte. It sort of almost feels like brushed. And I bought 4 meters of this. It was in a like 70% off deal that they had. And I think I used just over 2.5 meters on the jumpsuit. But that's what I've been sewing, and it's been a journey, but I'm actually quite proud because I have sewn this. I made it and I realised it needed some edits. And I'm really bad at doing that. Like historically, I'll make something, it needs the tiniest change, I'll procrastinate it for months. And then when I finally edit it, I'm like, why didn't I do that months ago? Well, actually, I've been pretty good with this. Partly probably because there's a deadline. But I've actually just got on with the unpicking and got on with the like fixing stuff. It still needs more edits because every time I do one thing I realise that something else needs doing, but I'm getting there. I think that one more little stint of sewing should resolve the problems that I have, but I am actually really proud of myself for doing it, which sounds really silly, but I do struggle with the being able to do short blocks of sewing and not feeling like I'm like not progressing. Like I like to sit and sew a whole dress and come out of the sewing room like 3 or 4 hours later and be like, I've made a dress and it's beautiful. And that just isn't really practical with my lifestyle at the minute without a lot of effort. And what's quite nice is that I feel like I'm really embracing the 20-minute chunk activity, both for sorting the sewing room and for sewing. And I am making progress, and like maybe that will train my brain to realise that you don't need 3 hours in one sitting, you can do 3 hours in 9 20-minute blocks instead, which might be more practical and achievable. So I will talk more about that. I might pop in a picture of like the progress shot, but to be honest, it's a mirror selfie of a black outfit, which is never particularly easy and great, but we'll see. So that is what I've been making, buying, doing. I said I was going to do one other thing. Was it wearing or was it planning? I can't really remember, but yeah, so that's kind of what the last week has been. I am off to 2 social sewing things today. It's actually tomorrow. I'm filming this on Thursday because the mood took me to film it, and it will take me a day to edit it, so it'll go up on Friday. But it's kind of Thursday sews. So I'm going to 2 socials, both run by Annabelle Sews in Reading. So she runs an evening monthly craft club, which I have gone to the last 2 years, but I'm also going to the daytime one this year, which is a new launch for her. I won't really be able to do that when I'm back at work, but because I'm on maternity leave at the minute, I can. And my plans for that and then the coming kind of week is I want to get the things made for the boys for the funeral, but that shouldn't take very long. I really need to make myself some new knickers because my me-made knicker stash is in dire need of replacement. 2 pregnancy bumps later, it turns out I need to make myself a new batch. So I need to do that, but that's not that exciting for me, so I'm kind of trying to mix it up with some other things. I would really like to cut out a toile of the Peppermint Patterns wide leg trouser, but it's the least sensible thing for me to make because my body shape is still changing, and even though I cannot get the image of like high-waisted bright coloured pair of trousers, wide leg trousers with like a little cute crop shirt out of my head, I probably should wait at least another like month or 6 weeks before thinking about toiling a pair of those, but that's what I want to do. I would like to get those skirts sewn up. They should be really quick and nice and easy. Now I'm definitely not going to get all of those things done in a week, particularly as one of the things I've been telling myself I'm going to do while I'm on maternity leave is sew the Jessica blazer, and I really don't want to get to kind of halfway through and think, oh, I've not done any of that yet. So I would quite like to also cut out a practice run of that, and I can't quite decide on the fabric for that. So that's where I'm at the minute. And I'm also going to be chipping away at the sewing room as well. So there's lots to do. My husband is now back at work, and to be honest, I don't really feel like I've done very much while he's been off, because we've been spending time together, which is obviously doing something. But I am kind of now back into the maternity leave place that I had last time round, where I feel like I can kind of plan my day a little bit easier. So that's the plans, I think, as well as wanting to make, you know, another Starlight Belle jumpsuit and another Starlight Belle dress, and I want to make myself another pair of ruby overall dungarees, and I want to make myself some more jumpers, and I have too many ambitions for the amount of time that I have, but we'll see where we go. And I'm probably also going to use Friday Sews to talk a little bit about my yarn craft updates. I say yarn craft as if I really do any crochet anymore. My knitting updates. But I want to just start doing that when I've kind of filmed my knitting video, to share where I'm at with that. Anyway, this is perfect timing because Ollie is just waking up. So would you like to say hello to everybody? Big stretch, boy. Yeah, big stretch. You're in a new room. He hasn't spent much time out here yet. But on that note, it's been really fun just having a bit of a ramble into my phone. I'd love to hear what you think about the fabrics that I have bought more of. I'd love to hear what you're sewing this week and what you think I should sew next. But until next time, bye. You gonna say bye? No.